But we'll move on to the next one then. And it's James's turn to bring forward nominations. Another one which again brought the votes in. We've got Team of the Year. James, what have you got?
Yeah, Team of the Year is always one of those votes that obviously people will always be a bit partisan about because everyone has their favourite teams or their dislike teams more often than not. But the Team of the Year vote in third place was Team 3 Litre. I mean, we've just spoke about Jack Star how much, but I mean, the entire Reynolds family, Lethal, everyone involved with 3 Litre do so much around the sport, and the votes reflected that, and very worthy coming in third place. In second place, Team Black. I mean, we've given Sid Madrick Driver of the Year. Over he came in second. I mean, Team Black are one of those teams that um, they are drivers all throughout the team. They are drivers that are well known for being at the absolute top of their game, at the top of the sport. Um, just seeing them turn up, book in, will always give people a bit of excitement in deep within their stomachs when they see them turn up. They know they're going to entertain. Just look at what Patch did up north last week. But in first place, Bowman's come in second and third in the last two of the votes, but this is his first victory because the Predators, with 21.05% of the votes, take Team of the Year. And really, I mean, what a season they've had. I mean, all of the top three, you could make a case for being absolutely excellent teams, but obviously this is based over the year. And what a year the Predators have had. I mean, we've just spoke about Slim so much, but I mean, the rest of the team as well.
Well, yeah, that's what's important as well. I mean, the team sticks together on track and off it, and never mind at the track. Sometimes other aspects of life, the teams work together as well. But Bryson's been keeping an eye on the teams this as well. Any spikes in the votes you think are just basically the best teams got nominated one way or the other and voted for?
Yeah, I understand. Obviously, Predators had a standout year, and I think I've been to a lot of East Anglian based meetings, which obviously is where they specialise at. Obviously on the showers at Lynn and Mildenhall, and they've just had a mega year. You talk about Slim's individual aspects and fundamentally his character team, but the team behind him, you got obviously Bradders, his brother Bradley Bowman, you got Damo Matthews, and then you got obviously all the sort of fresh blood for the Predators. It feels like that sort of slight nostalgia is coming back as well. Seeing the Predators in mass doing bits every meeting and the pit work as well. You look at Lynn meetings where often there's multiple banter classes, or Robbins as well, and Slim's done them. Damo and Bradders have been in multiple classes. You then got Matt Black, Woody, Lee Middleton, Knuckles. You got the whole group of drivers have been on form all year, and then you look at the Bandit and Royal, for instance, that we discussed about. Yeah, exactly that, and even Jack, to the point where
so you got to see Jack Bailey coming through as well, like Slim's cousin.
Exactly.
I mean, how good's he been?
Exactly that. So it's good to see the fresh blood coming through, but it's also from if rumours are to be heard as well. We're expecting to see some of the older Predators sort of make a few appearances next year, just off the basis that Slim's given them that sort of rejuvenation to be like, yeah, we'll do it. And obviously they've brought in drivers from ranks as well. So you got sort of some very good drivers in X team Marine pilots, Martin Kent and Kieran Greenway have joined the ranks as well. So they're now forced to be reckoned with, and it shows how good a season they are, where they've beat the likes of Team Black, where as you sort of mentioned, you got Sid, you got Jack Overy, who are multi-champions this year. You've got Ricky and Patch Beasley, who obviously Ricky's been on it all year. Patch has sort of returned to racing and instantly sort of put his stamp on the marker. But you've had Jack Deacon, who's probably had one of the best years he's ever had in bangers. Meerkat, Gelsthorpe, Harry Overy, all drivers who have had great form this year. And you look, obviously Harry just had a win at Yarmouth on Tuesday and got a third in the final. They're all drivers who very much sort of have that influx. And 3 Litre, they're just loved by most, aren't they? They just all round good family, and lethal and the likes as well on the side. They're just sort of the epitome of what bangers are about.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the team of the year votes the whole way through, do you think in the past there was almost a bit of a downer on banger teams in a way, in terms of the way that teams were sort of monopolizing or the influence they had on the sport, whereas if you weren't in one of the big teams, that you could potentially end up finding yourself at the end of a huge hit for no other reason you're not part of the big team. But looking at the team of the year votes, do you think it's a bit of a different culture with teams these days?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you look at the factor of how meetings have gone, especially when there is, like, I've been to meetings where you get teams en masse against other teams. They tend to sort of have it out with each other and have a laugh about it, and handshakes and that side of things, and take it out on each other. And not a sense in a war, but I mean, like, other nominees, you got TMT, BRC, Barton Boys, for instance. They're all boys who love to get stuck in, but they never sort of. There doesn't tend to be that monopoly, like, oh, we've got 10 of us, so we'll gang up and smash the daylights out of everyone else on track so we can take the spoils. They sort of tend to keep it amongst, like, say, for instance, there's 5 Predators and 4 TMT, or
Yeah.
16 Black and 5 Preds or something. They'll battle with each other, and we've seen that
Absolutely.
on multiple cases throughout the year, and
Yeah.
they'll sort each other out, and rather than previous years where you've seen it where sort of teams have ganged up on an individual or that mentality and just blown them to smithereens and that side of things. I think, it's sort of less gone away from that, which is always good to see.
Jordan knows a lot. Jordan knows a lot about that side of team racing from the old arena days. What are your views on modern team racing, Jordan?
No, well, I think Brooks hit the nail on the head there. And just quickly, I think that's what I really like about the Predators this year. The fact that they haven't gone to attack in mass numbers. Most of the time, they haven't turned up with 15 or 20 cars and then destroyed the first person they see with one going in after the other. The Preds don't care who they hit; they just want to hit anyone, and will. If someone's gone into a jack and train, say for instance, Slim will go in, another driver will go in on Slim, then another Pred will go in, another driver, then another Pred. They do back up their own, and it isn't that monopolization. Like, I have to admit, we did see.
There'll be no TPT on their boots.
No, and I say that with all due respect to the teams that raced them in the latter years, but I do think that Arena of Essex was always quite a team-based track. You look through the late 80s, 90s, definitely when you had Suicide Squad, Cream, Condoms, Essex Vermin, Anthill Mob as well. And then obviously in the noughties, you had the likes of the EastEnders coming through, Gigglers, the Cream Team, Bad Company, Gladiators, Midnight Runners. But that aspect of it was fine because although you had team wars as such, everyone was in a team, so no one was out there individually. I think the problems arose when those teams broke away from a war and drivers started appearing in their own colours. At the end of the day, just because you're in a different colour doesn't mean that team isn't gonna not hit you. And I think sometimes that's where the problems arise. And I've spoke to a few people in the scene actually about Arena, and they say that for them was the biggest problem. When numbers started to decline, it was because you didn't want the individuals to go there. I think team racing nowadays, it still has its issues, but I think in a scene where everyone pretty much knows everyone thanks to social media, it's not hard to gather a team together to combat another team, so to speak. But I think the fact that you've got the Predators, Team Black, and 3 Litre in the top 3 says a lot, because loads of teams that haven't got the wars that you'll love to talk about and sometimes big up on social media, Team Black, if they're in the mood for it, as we've seen at previous caged opens, the 2021 was a prime example. They will just start a friendly rivalry with someone on the day, like they did with 3 Litre. Predators, like I said, will just hit anyone, and they can take it as well. You only need to look at Brad Bowman's hearse from a Halloween Havoc meeting. And 3 Litre themselves, I think Northern Bangers shared a post earlier, and I think between Keithy, Jackstar, and Joey, those 3 alone have completed or entered 128 meetings between those 3. So they've shown tremendous dedication in a season which, to be fair, only really started in mid to late April, thanks to the COVID. And I will say that under my breath slightly.
I suppose as a closing remark on 3 Litre is, in terms of what they're about, you just have to look at how the 3 Litre meetings have gone at Aldershot in terms of the racing we've had, the entertainment we've had, and the attitude we've had, and that's exactly what banger racing really should be about. And the teams we've talked about here, they're all teams that really do understand that. I mean, you mentioned as well with 3 Litre and Team Black at the Caged Open 2021. Everyone's favourite forum, everyone was asking what the issue was between them, and there was no issue. They were just banger drivers out to have a crash, and that's what they wanted to do, and that's what they did. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a good time for banger racing in terms of teams. I think we've moved away from the days of almost tribalism in colours. I think it's more now about you going out there to have a laugh with your mates, and these teams as well, they're no stranger to having a crash with each other if the need arises as well. So
yeah,
I think
also what I think an interesting aspect of the Predators is, and I think Rick sort of alluded to it earlier, was the fact that after the days of Psycho and 404 Spook, to name a few others, they've sort of had a bit of a quiet couple of years. Obviously, Slim has flown the flag extremely well for the Predators. But a little bit like the Barton Boys, and the Barton Boys have sort of become one of the dominant forces in National Bangers over the last couple of years, thanks to 211 Jamie Powell, and obviously you've got James and Sean Rushton as well. But the new blood that comes through these teams sort of rejuvenates, and we see it with the Barton Boys, the likes of Tom Jordan, Beast Marsh, and others as well. We've now got Martin Kent and Greenway joining the Predators, and yeah, I think the way they recruit drivers is very, very good. We've seen it with one or two teams over the last couple of years. As other drivers have retired, they've tried to bring in new blood, and it hasn't worked. And we've seen drivers that turn up in teams' colours for a couple of meetings, and then all of a sudden they're back in their own colours. And that's obviously for a variety of reasons, and there's probably politics behind it, which obviously we're not massive fans of, so we're not going to go into. But no, with those teams, it is interesting the fact that they've had a couple of quiet years, and now they've come back up to what is a very good national banger team. So massive congratulations to the Predators, and obviously look forward to seeing more of them in 2022.